nether. That's right, folks. It actually turns out that gilded blackstone is even rarer than ancient debris blocks. But if you're giving me a choice between one or the other, I'm definitely going to take the less rare option.
Number 7. Getting a full set of 15 bookshelves is almost a prerequisite for getting an enchantment table. So obviously this is on your to-do list. But how much does it cost? After running the numbers, it takes 90 wooden planks, 45 leather, and 135 paper to make all the bookshelves necessary for a level 30 enchantment.
Number 8. Perhaps you didn't know, but there's actually a way to find predictability in the way that bedrock spawns. And using this information, people have made a program where you're actually able to see where the largest clump of bedrock appears at the topmost layer. And if you're curious, that's at X 21,783,512 and Z negative 800,011. What you're going to do with this information, I don't know. But is it a fact about blocks? Absolutely.
Number 9. Even though barrels were first added to Minecraft Java Edition roughly a month before Bedrock in Snapshot 18W44A, in the files of a Bedrock Edition beta version lie some interesting unused textures. Apparently at some point in development there were plans to add variants of the barrel both empty and filled with fish.
Number 10. For anyone who's been playing Minecraft for a couple years now, you've probably noticed something a little different about your beacons lately. As it turns out, as of Snapshot 19W41A in Java Edition, you can no longer see the full beacon beam when you look up through it. Now instead, you're just going to get these little particle effects along the side of your screen.
Number 11. Render distance works in a couple of different ways in Minecraft. While most of us are familiar with the absolute render distance that refers to the blocks and structures in the distance, there's a separate entity render distance that exists. That's why shulker boxes disappear when you're too far away from them, because even though they're placed like a block, the game still classifies them as an entity.
Number 12. Because soul sand isn't a full block, when gravity blocks try to fall on top of it, they're just going to get broken. Which might not seem like that big of an issue, but it actually could be. You see, if you're in a soul sand valley and you want to clear out the lava, then this is not a complete way to get to the soul sand underneath. And yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to be draining out the lava this way. Number 13. When you toggle a piston between on and off rapidly with a gravity-affected block such as sand on top of it, then eventually the piston will actually break the block. Which, there you go, can even be picked up as an item. Is it practical? Not exactly. You're way better using a slab or something.
Number 14. Mob spawning definitely has some quirks. For instance, even though mobs can't spawn on transparent blocks such as slabs and glass, piston head blocks work just fine. Now, this is not to be confused with the regular piston block. That part prevents mobs from spawning inside just like any other full block. Number 15. While crafting a stone cutter instead of a crafting table does seem more expensive, when making stairs using a stone cutter, it requires just 1 block per stair crafted, where a crafting table costs 1.5 blocks per stair. For things like cobblestone, this doesn't seem to make much of a difference, but for harder to obtain blocks such as quartz and prismarine, the savings add up quickly.
Number 16. As many of us know, beacon beams can't pass through solid blocks. But if you're worried that you can't use a beacon inside of the nether unless you go into the nether roof, don't worry. As it turns out, if you place a beacon underneath bedrock with no other solid blocks like netherrack in between it, then it'll actually blast through the bedrock roof, and look, you've got a fully powered beacon.
Number 17. Smelting items in a furnace can be a surprisingly good way to get experience, especially when partnered with cactus and bamboo farms to essentially automate the process. While those are good long term, if you're only going to smelt one item, the best one to put in the furnace is ancient debris, yielding 2 experience points for grabbing the netherite scrap.
Number 18. While the invisibility potion effect makes you almost entirely invisible to different mobs and players, as it turns out, there's something in Minecraft a little bit more all-knowing. As you can see, if you have the invisibility effect and then you walk up to an enchanting table, then it'll still open up and the book will see the player. Number 19. Of the list of words that the enchantment table can use, none of the words actually contain the letters J or Q, which is weird because even though they're not used in any of the words that show up, they do still have a symbol attached to them, which I guess makes sense. I mean, why are you going to code in 24 letters of the alphabet and not do the other 2? Number 20. Although beacons do require obsidian to make, they don't actually require a diamond pickaxe to break. I know, that seems odd, and especially with a high-value item like this, you don't want to risk accidentally losing it. But sure enough, as you can see, if you use another pickaxe that isn't diamond, you're still going to get the beacon back.
Number 21. The smithing table has been through quite a few changes during its short time in Minecraft. When it was first added in Snapshot 18W44A, Minecraft's smithing table used to look like this. It's a sort of modified crafting table with some different tools along the side. I suppose it makes some sense.
Number 22. On May 17th of 2019, Minecraft celebrated its 10th anniversary. And with that, if you actually happened to place a cake on that day, you'd actually see that the cake model was modified so that it would display a tent above it made out of white concrete. It's a cute little birthday celebration, but honestly, who among us is crafting cakes anyway? Number 23. Of all of the blocks that exist in Minecraft, the only 3 that can naturally generate in all 3 dimensions are chests, obsidian, and bedrock. And because of that, I guess technically each dimension has some way for you to get an ender chest on your hands as well.
Number 24. When chains were added to Minecraft, they brought around a lot of discussion, but one topic that doesn't get talked about enough is their blast resistance. Even though chains are made of less iron, just 2 iron nuggets and an ingot, they have the same blast resistance as a full block of iron, proving once and for all that it's never about the amount of iron, but how you use it.
Number 25. Roughly 8 years ago on July 31st of 2012, Notch first hinted at the idea of a command block in his Reddit AMA. Here, when asked about more minor updates that the team was working on for the future, he mentioned that they might be working on some kind of script block, which, as we can see now, in reference to the adventure mode, turns out to be the command block. And even though at the time Notch said this idea might have felt impure for the game, all of us who have played with the different mini games and command maps that have been made with this are definitely thankful for them.
Number 26. Anyone lucky enough to get their hands on the Heart of the Sea item likely put it into crafting a conduit, but unless you fully powered it, you might not have seen that it's still there. When activated, the conduit displays the Heart of the Sea at the center of its model. Then when all 42 blocks necessary have been placed, the heart opens like an orange eye, as you can see here.
Number 27. If you don't yet have the flame enchantment on your bow, but you're still looking to fire off some flame arrows, then this might be an option. You see, if you have a lava bucket, that is going to be able to catch some of your arrows on fire, but not in the way that you would think. As you can see, only if an arrow shot into flowing lava does it catch on fire.
Number 28. Beds in the nether don't exactly mix well. That's just intentional game design. Though that's unfortunate, since it turns out beds might just be what you need for nether safety. Of course, you can only test this in the overworld, but when you sleep in a bed, the player cannot be damaged by lava. When you wake up, you might not be as lucky.
Number 29. Now, if you've ever played Minecraft during Halloween night, then you're well aware that some mobs on that day will be able to spawn with jack-o'-lanterns on their heads. As it turns out, there's actually 13 different mobs in the game that are able to wear them, which is good, because this is probably the only time you're ever going to get to see them. Number 30. Now, despite what you might think, there's actually only one transparent block that cannot be placed on ice. Can you guess it? Well, if you can't, then there's actually snow layers that cannot be placed on top of ice blocks, which is likely